There was a small village that was sheltered by the forest and filled with many elders, the children often leaving this realm before reaching a few years old. The town faced plague and pestilence and rarely had enough to eat. There was one small child there, a girl who was gifted with an angel's voice. The townspeople would cheer each day as she walked through the square, singing her songs. One day, a passing mage was wandering through the forest at the edge of the village. He froze in place at the sound of her silken melody. Leaving his path, he sought the small child whose voice shone like the sun. He approached her, carrying sweet rolls. "Sweet lady, I beg you, come with me and I will give you all the treats you could want." She thought long about his offer, but the little girl saw him for what he was and ran away. The next day he tried again. "Beautiful lady, I beg you, come with me and I will give you the prettiest dress you could want." She thought long about his offer, but the little girl saw him for what she was and she ran away. He came again the third day. "Young girl, I beg you, come and play with me. I am lonely and have all the toys you could want." The girl thought very long about his offer, for she too was lonely in her village of only elders. "I cannot play for long," she said. "I must keep singing in the square." "Oh, do not worry," the mage said. "The village does not need your songs. Come with me and play." And the young girl followed the mage a little ways into the woods. They walked only a few moments between the trees, but the girl's feet ached. "We should play here. I do not want to stray far," she said, pulling on the man's cape. The mage sneered at her and grabbed her collar, pulling her farther in. Ahead of them, through the trees, a beautiful toy shop appeared, the windows aglow with beautiful creations made of glass and gold. The girl was delighted. "Look at all these toys," she cried, running to the window. "They are all for you," the mage said. "Pick one to play with." The little girl pulled a beautiful statuette, protected in a crystal ball. It was a little girl just like her, with a perfect dress and dainty shoes and long hair. "Excellent choice," the mage whispered, and then he cast a spell. His magic trapped the little girl inside the crystal ball until she was just a toy a few fingers tall. "Now listen to me," the mage said with evil in his voice. "You are mine and must sing for me any time I request." The girl began to cry, fearful and alone, trapped inside the crystal cage. She pressed her hands against the glass. Her ball was lifted into the air as the mage turned her to look over the forest. She could see the flames even from a distance. Fire and smoke were eating away at her village. "There is no place for you to return to," he said. "You belong only to me now." She screamed and banged on the glass, but her hands became wooden and rigid. Screws filled her joints and her feet couldn't move. And so she was taken from her home to sing for a dark mage. She belonged to him for many years, singing each day, each night, her voice still as pure and as soft as water. One morning, the mage left at dawn for the woods. As he left, he set her on the ledge that viewed out into the forest with all the other toys. She watched them close, the toy soldiers, dolls, and wooden creatures. There were hundreds of toys in the shop, but she had not seen another living soul besides the mage. Lonelier than ever, she began to sing. She sang her soul into the empty shop, speaking to all the toys around her. As she spoke more and more, she saw movement. Color returned to some of the faces, and they began to come alive, breathing and blinking and shifting their dusty wooden bodies. She called to them, but none answered. Despair filled her chest and she wept, watching the tree line again for the mage's return. A voice near her wheezed, "You must escape here." The girl gasped, turning to see who had spoken. It was a coughing wooden boy with limp legs and scratches across his form. "You are alive too?" she said. "Tell me, how can I get out? What happened to you all?" The little boy's voice was raspy and soft, but he told her what had taken place. They had all been children once, but the dust filled their throats and the porcelain claimed their limbs. Her singing had brought a sliver of life back to them as they remembered what it was like to be lonely and to speak. The little boy warned her. "You must escape this place before you forget your songs and your life." The girl was afraid. "What must I do?" "You must break the crystal," the boy said, "and run out into the woods, but the mage will follow you, for he will never let you go." "How can I escape him?" the girl asked, but the little wooden boy did not speak again. The young girl thought deeply for hours, planning her escape. Night was falling when the mage finally returned. "Sing for me," he said as he set his cloak by the door. "Of course," said the girl, and she sang. Her voice started as smooth as honey and as soft as moss, but it grew louder and higher, climbing an octave in strength, until her voice screeched through the air. Her call was so shrill the glass around her cracked and cracked. Her cage shattered, shards and shivers flying through the air and embedding themselves into every surface and toy around her. Released from her prison, the girl climbed from the crystal ball, pulling herself up the walls with bloody fingers. As she climbed, the broken shards grew smaller and smaller until she was full-sized. The mage huddled against the wall, the pieces of glass piercing his face and chest, his eyes bleeding. "Do not hurt me, dear child. I rescued you from the horrors of your village. I only asked that you would sing for me. You can stay forever in this wondrous toy shop and play forever. If you leave, you will age again. You will lose your own children and watch your friends pass away. Stay with me and do not trouble yourself with the world. Stay and sing every day," he pleaded. "I will not stay," the girl said, her voice quiet but strong. "My skin may sag, my songs may grow weak, and my eyes may blur, but I will be free." The little girl opened her mouth and let out 7 sharp notes that cut through the mage, severing him into 7 pieces. One for the eyes that watched her, one for the lips that whispered the lies, one for the feet that led her away, one for the hands that burned her home, one for the heart that never beat, one for the ears that stole her songs, and one for the throat that stole her voice. The little girl left the toy shop, searching for her village in the woods. She sang every day, and her voice was no longer sweet and pure. When she sang, the ravens cawed, the wasps droned, and the vipers hissed. All the unsought creatures of the forest take up her song wherever she travels, dusk or dawn, summer or winter, forever searching for her home. Thank you so much for watching and listening. If you liked the video, please subscribe. Supporting me with likes, shares, and comments helps a ton. This story is inspired by the Gypsy Bard song from Friendship is Witchcraft. Thanks again for watching, and have a happy Halloween!